because you're all about your Instagram, right?
I'm just all about...
The Lord's team, the winning side.
We haven't done this one in a long time.
It's because everyone hated it.
Yeah, I know. I liked it.
I like it too. I think I sound great.
Welcome to the Catholic Man Show. We're on the Lord's team, the winning side. So raise your glass. Adam Minahan here, sitting in studio. David Niles to my right. Father David Webb to my left. First time on the Catholic Man Show. Welcome.
That's true.
Welcome to this study. We call it the studio. It's the studio / where I study. I don't really do that very much anymore.
It's where the studs go to.
It's where the studs are. The studio.
We are
happy
studs.
to be here.
I have good news for you. Your mom is watching on Facebook right now.
Is she?
Yeah.
Hey,
No
Mom.
pressure.
Hi, Mrs. Webb.
No pressure. We want to thank Juan, who is on the buttons. Jim, who is in the peanut gallery, making sure no one breaks
Jim
in.
is sitting in choir this evening.
Yes. Way to go, Jim. Shout out to
That's a Catholic joke, Adam. Yeah. So many good Catholic jokes. I mean, if like you're looking for a reason to become Catholic and you just like you're close and you need something to push you over the edge, there are not very many good Protestant jokes. Actually, I don't know. I'm not Protestant, but there are a lot of good Catholic ones.
Dude, you know what I found out this week? Actually, yesterday. Holden told me this.
Tell me.
My brother-in-law.
Tell me.
Do you know what the first name of the Mississippi River was? Do you know what they named the Mississippi River
The Catholic
first?
River.
No. Do you know?
Jesus.
Have you heard?
Queen of something, right?
No, very close. The Immaculate Conception. The Immaculate Conception River.
And then they change it because they realize like that is a dirty river. Turns out it's not very clean.
Not pure enough.
I didn't know that though. Did you?
Especially once we
I never
started
knew that. No.
Yeah.
dumping chicken poop in it. Like we cannot. You know what, guys? We got to change the name of this river. I can't dump chicken poop into this river otherwise. That's probably why they changed it.
I don't think that's historically accurate. Let's get into the whiskey though. That'd be
Okay,
fun.
where's the box? El Juan, you had the box.
While you're finding the box,
I want the sticker. Really, I want that
Father
sticker.
David, why don't you let them
me.
know where you preside?
Yeah.
Because I didn't really do a very good job of introduction. I
Oh yeah, so this
apologize.
is Father
yeah,
David
it's
Webb. Let me introduce you. You are the associate at Christ the King Parish here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You're also the rector at. Is it the rector? What are you?
I think I'm a chaplain.
A chaplain at the
Yeah.
Newman Center at the University of Tulsa.
New chaplain.
The new chaplain,
New
right?
chaplain.
Yep.
Yeah.
The
Less
fire.
than a year old there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Brother Brian Ketterer was the previous chaplain.
Father Brian Ketter. Yeah.
You guys are like kind of switching places, except
I'm just getting more work.
right, because he's also now an
You
associate.
drew the short straw, didn't you?
Oh, no.
Father Brian Ketter is over there drinking a good beer, being like, "Yes, you did."
Yeah. The beer fridge is at least more well stocked.
Oh, yes. Definitely at the parish. Not so much at the Newman Center, though. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well, no,
because
because he took it with him. Yeah, he got out of there.
Right.
But you still live at the rectory at
Christ the
Christ
King.
the King, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you still have options.
I think I'm kind of a lifer at Christ the King. This is my 4th year there now. And I keep telling people the reason I'm still there is because Father Elkin, he's just too lazy and doesn't ever get around to moving me around somewhere else.
Yeah.
He's like, "You're good here. I
I need
like
to
it."
cause more trouble for him to kick me out at some point.
And you were ordained what year?
Oh, 2017.
2017.
Yeah, 3 years
Awesome.
and some change now.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Father David was best friends with my wife's younger brother growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Lady Pamela, her younger brother Alan, and Father David were best friends growing up. Fun fact.
Yeah.
Fun fact for you.
Yes.
So, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for
welcome.
volunteering your
I'm
expertise.
glad I finally made it to the big leagues.
I hope you don't disappoint your mom.
Yeah, me
I'm
either.
sure you won't.
Sure you won't either.
Okay, so
She's proud of you.
I don't know how to say the whiskey that we're drinking because the thing about me is I don't speak Japanese. But if I were going to try to speak Japanese, I would say it's Kureyoshi. 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 I hope that was okay and not
pretty good.
offensive.
Yeah, hopefully no one's offended by that.
Yeah. So anyway,
I think that's good. I think it was.
You got all the right letters.
thank you. the reason I got it is because it won like a bunch of awards and stuff,
Yes.
and like it scored 94 points on the Ultimate Spirit Challenge in 2019. Juan asked me like, "Is that out of 200?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know. It's probably out of 100, or I hope so. Otherwise, I just got really taken to the cleaners."
I've
by
actually
this-
heard of this one before.
Have you?
Oh,
Well, let's
nice.
crack it open.
Okay.
Oh, look at this. They have an arrow on
let
the
you know.
cap to tell you which way to twist it.
Nice. So it says sweet aromas of berries and chocolate comes from the whiskey aged in oak casks for over 3 years, and when finished in sherry sherry casks, complemented by a citrus tart taste like lemongrass, smooth with a lingering finish. It is very soft and recommended for all palates.
All pallets.
Wow. If it's recommended for all palates, is it really recommended at all?
Oh, it is.
Because if it's made for everybody, is it really made for anybody?
Okay, well, let's take water. Water is made for everybody. And it is made for everybody. Okay.
That's fair enough.
If you say, like, well, I don't know, that means I don't think anybody should have it. I think that's going to backfire on you.
Yeah, that's
All right,
probably
you
right.
go first.
I was just asking you a
Yep,
question.
and I just answered it. Like,
well played.
you know, like those YouTube videos where they say, like, David Niles destroys Adam's dumb question. Will you hand that to Jim?
yeah, that one's a gym. That's a gym glass.
And you didn't
That's
actually...
a Kathy pour.
You're welcome. We all got Kathy pours tonight. Here's to
Yeah.
Kathy.
We're on the Lord's team,
The winning side.
so raise your glass. And
Cheers to Jesus.
Cheers. So while you guys are,
Oh, did you tell him did you mention it's aged in sherry casks?
yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I thought that was interesting. I've never seen a Japanese whiskey aged in sherry casks.
Oh yeah.
Not that they wouldn't do it over there. I mean, they do it everywhere else. You know what? Of course, you know they would do it too. But I just haven't encountered one yet. So I was excited
Oh, yeah.
to try this one.
They're really taking over the whole whiskey game in general. Though.
Oh man.
They have.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
they're doing a great job.
Oh yeah.
They're like buying distilleries in
Yeah,
Scotland.
I
and
know.
things.
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
they're like controlling it. Yeah.
Right.
So
but
what-
also just the stuff that they make in Japan
Is
is
very
very
good.
good. And they make whiskey in the Scotch style.
I like this Centauri Japanese whiskey. It's light. It's great for summer. It's light, crisp, sweet, easy.
Yeah. They make a coffee one too. Is that?
Mhm.
And the coffee one is really pretty good. It's pretty interesting
I
if
don't
you haven't
remember,
had it.
but yeah. What do you think, Father?
You definitely get fruit.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really smooth. Not much of a burn. Really a light flavor.
Oh yeah,
which,
it's only 46%, so it should be a little bit
Like
easier.
water.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? That is. I would describe this as a summer whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very light in flavor, kind of like lemon. You know, like some bourbons are kind of that way. But it has a refreshing quality to it. It's not smoky.
No, you get the oak in the back. The finish is the oak.
Yeah.
You don't actually get any really oak until the finish. I think you get the citrus. The sherry is strong on the palate, and then once you finish it, then the oak and the tannins kind of come in. What are your thoughts? You agree
I
with
love
that
it.
assessment?
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't think it's like super strong in the sherry flavor.
I don't either. I don't get like strong raisins or
Right. Like a lot of
Dates.
whiskey with the sherry is kind of a strong flavor.
in sweet. It's
Yeah.
not super sweet.
If you had just given this to me in blind taste test, I would not have noticed, oh, this is aged in sherry casks.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, since I know it, I can kind of like, oh, yeah, it's there. But I'm not sure that, first of all, my palate is not attuned well enough anyway.
sherry.
It's not like I could do much with it, you know, in a blind taste test in the first place. But it's not all that noticeable, I don't think. Do you disagree, Adam?
yes, I do. Yes.
You firmly disagree.
at the begin, like at the front, like that's the initial hit is
Sherry.
is the sherry, and then you get that citrusy like secondary note, and then the end is the oak.
Okay.
Is what I get. That's my official tasting notes. Dave, I do want to talk about this before the end of the first break, though, because it's very important. 40 Days for Life is going on right now. If you are not involved in 40 Days for Life and you are a man listening to the show, it is time for you to step up. We are needing you, and here's what we've done. We've partnered with the Diocese of Tulsa in Eastern Oklahoma for the 40 Days for Life. Normally what happens is that we have the diocese was very smart in buying the property right across the street from the abortion clinic, and it's called the Garden of Hope. And throughout the 40 Days for Life, we normally pray, have a 24-hour vigil, 7 days a week, 24/7 vigil, I guess, for the 40 days, right outside the abortion clinic. Well, because of Corona and things like that, we haven't been able to cover the night shifts. And so the diocese has asked us and asked you to step up to cover the night shift. So even if you're not in Tulsa, you don't have to, you can still participate. What you have to do is you go to thecatholicmanshow.com, you scroll down, there's a video like right in the middle, and there's a little link, and there's a sign up, and all you have to do is sign up for an hour time throughout the 11 p to 5 a time period. And so all you have to do is you get up for an hour to pray for the sanctity of life, to pray for the pro-life movement, to pray for the people who are in the abortion industry, to pray for the people who are going to be the women who are getting, who are pregnant and discerning this decision of choosing life or not. I think that one of the main problems with why abortion is so rampant is because it's a lack of fatherhood, it's a lack of men taking responsibility, and I think that there's a good chance that God will provide the graces needed when men step up and take ownership in being a father and uniting their sacrifices to that of the cross. And one of the ways you can do that is by signing up and offering 1 hour in the middle of the night in prayer.
A sacrifice, a big sacrifice.
Which is a big sacrifice.
Definitely.
But I think that it's much needed. Again, you don't have to be in the Tulsa Diocese to participate in this.
No.
You can go to thecatholicmanshow.com. We have men already signing up. We just released a video on it. You can go check that out on our social media pages and
thecatholicmanshow.com.
That's where you want to go. thecatholicmanshow.com and sign up. We need you. We're doing it. We want you to be there as well with us. So when we get back, we're going to jump into the topic. We're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass.
Cheers to Jesus.
Is the stream
When
working?
you come in, you're going to do the Catholic woodwork.
Yeah, it's working.
Okay.
I don't know. Why is it yellow,
Yeah,
Wad?
It's been orange for a while, and I don't, that's what I asked.
Is the feed going okay on Facebook?
See-
Is it?
Seems like it's...
I don't know about Twitter.
Somebody check Twitter.
I don't even like Twitter.
Go ahead
I have it on
and
my
hey,
phone.
Juan, can you hit the little gear button right by the stream
turn Twitter
and turn
off.
Twitter off. Just unstream Twitter just to make sure that we
Just L turned it off.
yeah.
See, there you go. I just did it. I spoke a little bit of Spanish.
How do I do it? With stop two?
Stop
Stop
two.
two.
Yeah. And then that should help the process.
There you go.
Bold
Should be
move.
Boom.
el mucho helpful.
Yes. So I was really excited to be a partner with the diocese on this because when Dr. Christine Myers reached out to us and was like, "Hey, we need the men's help."
She's so great. I love
She's
her.
like the best.
So
She's
are you guys
awesome.
going to praying there, or are you just praying?
At home?
Okay.
So you just
So we're
wake-
helping
that's kinda what I was
organize the
thinking.
at-home
Gotcha.
hours. Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah. She
is
is
still
so
needed.
busy. She's way too busy.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to pray for the diocese to take some of her work away.
Hire me.
I mean, she's the director of evangelization, or no, not evangelization, of religious education formation, and the family life director.
Yeah.
Because family life got rolled into the formation, which to me is that's
Yeah.
too bad. I think it's too bad.
So you guys gonna do?
You got to do what you got to do.
Are you gonna do the 5K, or the family? Is there a family one this year? A
We
family-
did
are
what, the
we
Rosary
are
Run?
doing the Rosary
Yeah,
Run.
yeah.
Rosary Rally?
Yeah.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about being the MCs of the Rosary Rally and run
There's no running.
is that you don't have to run.
Oh, but I'm going to be there. I'm not
However-
going to run.
You're gonna witness. it.
However, my family did win the Rosary Relay last year.
And it was
Dang.
not at all rigged.
If you tell my son that, he will cry. I'm not joking. He will cry. He was very proud of that
Do you
medal.
think he doesn't watch this?
He does not.
Harrison Garlic is watching. He
But
just logged on.
someday he will.
Yeah.
And
Hello, Harrison.
Harrison he's been dodging our invitation to be on the show for a while.
Oh, so hardcore.
It's
Oh.
But he's been on the show.
Well,
He was one of our
but
first
I
guests.
wasn't with him.
That's why he was there.
I know because I wasn't there.
We talked about
he
the
does like to
diaconate.
one up me personally, because I'm associate pastor of his parish. So now that he knows I've been here, He may well try and one up
may
me
try to do
here.
that.
He's gonna be like, you know what? I'd like to do a 3-hour special
Yeah.
on the divinity of Jesus.
Yes.
He could do it, no doubt.
I have no idea.
he
Yeah, I
could
don't
too.
doubt it either.
Off the top of his head.
I had one listener ask about your shirt tonight.
I tried to respond
Oh.
to him, but it wasn't letting me.
These are all of the patron saints of breweries and beers.
Be jealous, everybody.
That is the answer to that question.
Adam Minahan, inspiring jealousy for 4 years.
You're welcome.
Oh yeah, see,
Yeah, we should record again.
we should totally
Oh.
keep going. Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles here with Adam Minahan, Father David Webb. We have Jimbo Baggins sitting in choir this evening. Juan Posada on the buttons. This segment brought to you by the Catholic Woodworker. CatholicWoodworker.com. Use promo code TCMS. That stands for The Catholic Man Show.
Easy to remember.
Easy to remember for 10% off on all purchases. CatholicWoodworker.com.
And it lets him know that we sent you.
Yeah,
So he will continue advertising with us.
yeah.
Ideally.
That is the hope.
Yes.
That is the hope. So, before we get into the topic, I just want to brag about some of my children.
Ooh, okay. Oh, I got a chance to write my name on Elizabeth's cast.
Yeah?
Did you see it? It's like front and center. It says
Nice.
Uncle
You get
Adam.
you get some good real estate.
I got some prime real estate.
Nice.
Yeah. And it is not for sale.
So, Elizabeth, this is the second time she's done this. She's 5, okay? And at the beginning of the week, she said, Dad, I want to fast from sweets this week.
What?
Yeah. And she's totally doing it. Like,
Wow.
And she's done this before, where she'll go the whole week. And like this morning, I'd kind of forgotten, and I went and got donuts for breakfast. We only had 1 egg, so I couldn't make pancakes or waffles, or I couldn't even make, like biscuits and gravy,
Right.
And so I went and got donuts, and she went up to my mom, or she went up to her mom, my wife,
Lady Pamela.
Lady Pamela, her ladyship, and was like, Dad got donuts. I give up sweets. And so Pamela would tell her, well, no, this is the meal. It doesn't count if it's the meal, because she didn't know what else to do, right? And so, but I just I think about her doing that and about myself when I was 5, and I was not doing that. It's just so awesome. And I'm so proud of her for doing that. Anyway, I just wanted to brag on her because
Well,
I'm her dad.
I'm also going to brag on you a little bit because you're taking my son to Holy Mass on Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
And he has been doing nothing but telling everybody about it and how pumped he is about going with you.
Sweet.
So
I am
he
too.
is ready.
I'm looking forward.
So if you're a godfather, you should take your godson or goddaughter to Holy Mass with you.
Yeah, like a one-on-one.
Yeah.
Just,
That's what
you
he's
and your
doing.
godchild.
Yeah. And Luke is pumped. He thinks it is a big
And we're also going to get donuts after Mass. That's
gets-
also something that's happening.
he gets pumped, whenever he has if I take him or by himself, but he also gets pumped if you could take him by
You have
himself.
to be careful with Luke because he'll be like, hey, we should go golfing.
Yeah.
And I'll say, yeah, okay, let's go.
And then he'll come to me.
And then he thinks, sweet,
good.
we're going golfing.
Right. And then he comes to me and says
on Friday or
yeah.
something.
He'll come to me and say, Uncle Dave said we're going golfing on Friday. And I was like,
Oh, did he?
Did he?
Yeah.
Uncle
Okay.
Dave
What
would
happened?
take him to golf.
And he said, "Well, when should we go?" And I was like, "Well, maybe on a Friday."
And he
And
interpreted that.
and he
as
thought
this
like,
Friday.
"Okay, on Friday then we're gonna go golfing."
And he
Uncle
came to
David's
me.
treat. There we
Right?
go.
Yeah. He said,
Southern Hills, we're gonna go.
"Yeah,
It's like, way to go, Dave.
playing 36 holes."
Okay, so let's get into the topic. We're gonna
Yes.
we're gonna
We're
jump into
talking
the
about
topic.
canon law.
Right, and so the gear today, I guess you could say, is the Code of Canon Law, book.
And get this one. This one's the
is so
cool one.
cool.
Like if you want to be cool about canon law,
you wanna
then
be
you
re-
get this one.
If you wanna
I
be
also have
shiny
this
and
one.
Red.
if you want to be a trad,
Look at that. Right.
because it has the Latin English. It's the Latin English
Right,
edition. So
and,
you
and,
can-
and the English is really just a courtesy
Look.
for all of you other people.
It's
who
that way
don't.
you can. It's an elitist book. It really
Right,
is. Like
'cause-
look at me. I have the Latin too.
Does it match your Latin English Bible?
Right, because like so I have the Code
I
of
have
Canon
the
Law.
Vulgate, and I have the Code of Canon Law.
What I say is like, oh, I have the Canon Law, and it even has an English translation in it
right. Yeah.
Flex.
because you probably need that.
Yeah.
Because actually, well, technically, Canon Law is written in Latin.
Fact.
The actual code is in Latin, and then it's translated into
English.
other
Local
languages,
dialects.
right?
Language, yeah.
So, like, I suppose there could be some scenarios where the interpretation of it's like, well, it says this in English, and then you get into squabbling over is that a accurate translation?
Yep.
Should we be translating this literally, or like the meaning? You know, like the spirit of the. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there have been.
Letter of the law, spirit of the law.
Yeah,
how do you-
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm sure there have been cases like that throughout church history.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Because they make up terms and you have to define them,
Uh huh.
and that'll look different in every language.
Right.
So before we get into the questions about canon law, I think that I want to ask, what is canon law, and like how authoritative is canon law? Because there's like different levels of authority within the Catholic Church, right? There's things that you absolutely have to believe. This is dogma of the Church. You don't have an option. If you're Catholic, you have to believe this.
Right.
And then as the tiers go down, there's still levels of authority, but then there's ways of being
mind, a sense
Yeah,
of
like-
will.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
like pious assent
so
or
like
something.
what
Yeah.
what is canon law, and then let's start there. What is canon law?
What is canon law?
Well,
So,
it's the book we just showed everybody.
Yeah, but why do we have it?
Code of Canon Law exists because we have things from divine revelation, we have things from scripture, we have things from tradition, and we need a space to really set out how are we going to do some of these things, some of the practical things. So kind of think of like house rules. What are the house rules at your house? What are the things that like, okay, this may be true whenever you go to Walmart or this place or that place. Whenever you come to my house, this is what we do. Here's the rules. Here's the things we follow. And that's kind of what the code is. The code is, all right, what does the church do? We do baptisms. Great. How do we do them? Who does them? What do we do with those records? Do we make records? Do we need records? Who needs records? What's a godparent? How do you become a godparent? What are the rules for a godparent? All of that is in this book.
Right, and that makes sense, right? Because if we have the duty to carry out, in justice to our Lord, there's religion, which is which is a sub virtue of justice that is due to our Lord. And if there's something that is due to our Lord, then we have the responsibility to do it rightly.
Yeah.
We have the responsibility to do it, in a orderly manner.
Right.
And that's, I guess, what canon law. I mean, that's kind of what you were saying, right? Is
Yes.
that that's what canon law is made for.
And you and I could do one thing. We'd be like, all right, Adam and I, we're going to do baptisms this way. David, you do what you want.
Right.
But then we are not
In
unified.
communion.
We're not
Yeah.
in communion with each other. The only way for us to be in communion as a universal church, founded by Jesus Christ with one founder, one head, one body, is to have one code that governs what we do. Here's what we do. Here's how we do it. Here's why we do it this way. Because again, what they realized early on is the way that we do things influences the way we believe them. If we baptize saying, I baptize you, and you baptize saying, we baptize you, there may be a difference in belief in those small changes.
Ask the priests who weren't validly baptized and had to get baptized.
Right. Well, yeah. So there was recently a priest in the Archdiocese of Oklahoma City who was watching a video of his own baptism. Praise God, they had it on video.
Yeah.
And he realized the person who baptized him said, "We baptize you in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit." And it dawned on him, I'm not validly baptized.
That's not the correct form.
Therefore, I'm not even a priest. And so he had to be baptized, confirmed, and ordained, like
Well, you got
all in one evening.
You got 6 sacraments in
I mean, that's a legit day.
one
just
day.
like talk about a crazy day, right? And
Productive much? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's a good point. The reason that the church goes through such pains to be so meticulous
It's a whole book.
is because
Right.
huge.
is because she values the grace that the church is supposed to be giving to us, the people. The church exists
The
to
salvation of souls.
to be the medium, like to I don't want to use that word, but to be like the
Mediator,
thing that
custodian.
that helps pass out salvation to everybody, through Christ. So it's very important that we do that the right way. And so when you think about it, you realize, okay, yeah, so this is a very precious thing that we have to give, we need to make sure that we're giving it well.
Yeah.
And that it's being given correctly so that people can receive it the right way.
And uniformly.
Right.
In uniform.
Right.
But this is something that, again, I think a lot of Protestants wonder about the Catholic Church. You know, like we all do the same readings every Mass, but I think a lot of them would say, like, well, why can't St. Benedict do it the way St. Benedict does it?
You're
and
too
St. Anne's
legalistic.
does it another? And I'm
Right.
like, why
Yeah.
do you all have to have these rules and things? And
Right.
it's like, that's beautiful. However, the problem with it is, if I do it the way I want, who's the sole authority in this situation?
Mm-hmm. You.
Or if it's the three of us decide this way we're doing it, who's the sole authority in this situation?
Us.
If the church decides this, who's the sole authority? It's not a person.
It's Jesus. Well, it is. It's Jesus.
Yeah, but it's
He's-
just beautiful to see how, like, that's the gift given to the church, and the
Right.
Holy Spirit will guide it. It's just beautiful to see the way, like, this is the way that they preserve the gift of the sacraments, instituted by Christ, given to the church to guard and protect them and administer them. And so the church lawfully has that right to dictate, here's how we do them, here's why we do them, here's the theology of what is essential, what's not essential, and those sorts of things.
Mm-hmm. And so that's why, and thus the code. And it's grown over the years as it has needed to grow.
Yep.
Or it has changed.
Okay,
some.
so what if somebody says, you know, I believe in the dogmas of the church,
Yeah.
but there's something here in Code of Canon Law that I do not agree with. Like, this is something, like, I don't, because this is not hypothetical. I was in a high school retreat, and I was giving one of the talks, and I cited Code of Canon Law.
You cited Code of Canon Law in your high school retreat?
I mean, a confession here. I just really ripped off Archbishop Fulton Sheen. Like, he gave a talk, and I was listening to it. I was like, oh, that's perfect. And he cited it, and so like I cited it because he cited it. You
Sure.
know, it wasn't
Like
like I was
Barstool.
like it wasn't like I was
Yeah.
perusing through Code of Canon Law. I was like, oh, this would be good for my talk. You know,
This is like-
I just
this is like every Catholic speaker on
ever.
the planet.
Right? They all
Right.
everybody rips off everybody.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
Yeah.
homilies,
Yeah.
definitely.
So
I mean,
so-
Augustine, he ripped off me all the time.
Yeah.
He was always stealing my material.
Right. So I was literally I gave this talk, and one of the guys who was giving another talk said, "No, that's not right." And I was like, "Wait, what? What do you mean it's not right? It's in Code of Canon Law." I was like, "Well, I don't have to believe that." And I was like, I didn't know what I wasn't expecting that. You know, I was not prepared. It was on the Communion of Saints.
Speakers debate.
Yeah, and so like, okay, well, when we get back, we'll continue this conversation with Father David Webb. We'll be right back.
He didn't believe in the like.
Well, he didn't believe that like you had to you had to pray to saints.
Well,
Yeah, or that you have to believe that the saints will intercede for you.
Oh.
And so I was like, and so he told me that, and so I was like, okay.
Well,
Here's
you don't have to pray
Here-
to the
here-
saints.
here-
I mean,
here-
like,
here's my answer.
You're dumb not to do it, but
right. So here's my answer. You know, I think I would probably still like. I think this is a grace moment. Here's my answer. Critique it because I think I'd still use this answer, but it may be wrong. So it'd be maybe good for you guys to say. So I was like, okay, yeah, I agree. Like, you don't have to ask for the intercession of saints. However, if you're trying to paint a house and you either have a spray gun or you have a like a little paintbrush, which one are you going to use? And he was like, well, I'd use the spray gun. I was like, well, why? Because it's more effective. Boom.
boom, roasted.
Boom, roasted. That was my answer. That was my
I like it. It makes
example.
sense. And if you're doing the rosary, well, you know there's a saint tied to that, Saint Dominic.
right.
If you're
And
going to pray
Mary
the
and
Mass,
her, too,
you're
I
going to
mean.
be looking at how many people like all the Eucharistic prayers quoted from different saints left and right over and over again. Incorporating the saints into our prayers is something that we do regularly, but distinction between public and private prayer may be helpful.
Right. Okay, but I didn't really ask you that beforehand, so I want to make sure. Are you good with like answering this question?
Just repeat what you said for the show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, are you good
Totally.
with like answering like like what is the like? Am I bound to this?
Sure.
Sure,
Yeah.
as in you're good with answering, or sure?
Because
I am bound to this.
The catechism is kind of the same way. Like
Yeah.
something is in the catechism. Is that infallible?
It's not.
Or no, there are some infallible things in the catechism.
Right, but just because
But
in
because
the
it's in the
catechism-
catechism doesn't make it infallible. I mean, that means that it's possible it could be wrong.
Cart before the horse sort of thing.
You know, like I'm not saying that anything in the catechism is wrong, but I'm saying that
I feel like that's the claim you're making.
it's not infallibly defined. You know what I mean?
No, I understand. I mean, because again, there also comes
growing up, I thought everything
no.
in the catechism was
Okay, I thought you were gonna get into something else. Sorry.
No. I thought everything in the catechism was like, yeah, you have to believe this. I mean, this is what it is, baby.
Right.
You know, this is it. This is the Catholic Church.
So the last code says.
This is the last code.
Okay, well
The
we
last
can use
code.
this. We can
use this.
do it on the show.
Yeah.
I like it.
This is number 3, right?
This is 3.
Yeah. Okay.
Numero trace.
Yeah.
3 of 3, right? No, 3 of 2.
4. 3 of 4.
3 of 4.
3 of 2 would be phenomenal.
That's the after party, right?
We
Three-
do a
3
5
2.
of 4.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
yeah.
we actually do.
It's a cigar, right?
You have cigars?
I do.
We have the humidor.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. Adam Minahan here, sitting with David Niles and Father David Webb.
I can't believe I forgot about the humidor. It's right there.
I do want to give another shout out
blocking it.
again to all of our listeners on the new radio station that we are on, KSEY in Texas. I'm assuming awesome.
No,
Country radio
it's got to
station.
be awesome.
Gotta be awesome. Country radio station
Father,
that we are now on.
We're on a country radio station on Sundays.
Yeehaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We better be. We should be.
Yeah.
And we're Okies.
We are country.
But it's in Texas.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I mean,
I have
Country's
flannel on right
country.
now, and at one point today, I did wear a cowboy hat.
Attaboy.
Thank you.
Giddy up.
Okay, so we're here with
Giddy
Father
up.
David Webb, and right before the
Can
break,
I tell a funny story about this one time? One time I was in New York, and
did you just sidebar me?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
That's
if
like
there's
part
any
of the
doubt
show.
in your mind,
Yeah.
allow me to clear that up.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was in New York for some training, and we had been out, like our class, we had all gone out to the bar, and we were walking back into the hotel, and there was like some international, there's like a Jewish conference going on, except they were all like from the Middle East, like international Jewish conference, okay? And I walked by these people who were sitting on like benches outside, and I said, we kind of looked at each other, and just kind of like, want to do the hey, and said howdy, and kept walking in, and they all went, ooh, howdy, howdy, ooh, like they were just like giggling and squealing about like, a real American said howdy to us. Oh, it's just like the movie, and so I was just like cracking up as I walked, because I didn't mean to be funny. I was just saying howdy.
Yeah.
That's just something I say.
Right.
Anyway, that's my.
That was
It's
good.
just a good moment.
That's a good sidebar. Okay, so
you.
right before the break, we were talking about like what authority does Code of Canon Law have? Can I be in good standing with the church and say, no, I don't agree with this canon law, this portion of canon law?
Well, it would depend on what the code is and what it's saying. So again, whenever you think about
That's a
Code of
good
Canon Law,
distinction.
And probably why you're disagreeing with it.
right. So the code is written as general norms, right? So what do you need for baptism? You need water, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Okay. Good. What if you are dying in the desert, there's someone with you who's not been baptized, wants to be baptized, and all you have is salt water? Will it work? Well, one way to find out. But again, like the code is not meant to be outside of this, we have no idea. It's just like, I don't know.
You could use salt water, right? It just says,
sure. Why
doesn't
not?
it just say water?
It says
water.
plain water with no additives. Explicitly no additives. Because rose water was kind of one of those things that they went on and about trying to do for, anyways.
Rose water? What's that?
No, it's a
You don't need to
sidebar.
tell me.
Sidebar,
You don't need to tell
exactly.
me.
So anyways, plain water is the goal. That's what you're supposed to have.
Right.
So
Okay,
it's one
so
of those
like,
things
what
where...
if I'm drinking mineral water?
yeah, so then there's the thing, like, okay, what distinctions are
Like, what
important?
kind of additives? Okay, because like
it's not important.
the water that we use to baptize has fluoride in it.
Tap water.
We added fluoride to the water. Is that an additive? I mean, is like everybody in America's baptism invalid because we're using additive water,
Arguably illicit, maybe.
but still valid?
But entirely valid. Entirely valid. Don't worry, you're baptized. But those are important things that sort of come up, right? So I mean, if you're disagreeing, if you're taking beef for that sort of a reason,
I need to talk to Melania about this.
Oh yeah.
Trump. I feel like she might be able to get something done.
She's a
know
mover and a
about that.
shaker. So if you say there is a part of canon law that I really take offense with, and this is why, and here's what my thoughts are, here's what my beef is. Well, what you'd have to do is go to the very end of Code of Canon Law. The very last code is a code that says 1752. It talks about if there are some things here that are restrictive, that are problematic, canon law being equally observed is the goal, but the salvation of souls, which must always be the supreme law of the church, must be kept before one's eyes. The supreme law of the church is the salvation of souls. If what you're talking about is something that is dividing rather than unifying, then the supreme law of the church is unity. The supreme law of the church is people's salvation. If it's not hindering that, that should supplant whatever's going on here.
Yeah.
So also, whenever you go through the sacraments in the Code of Canon Law, over and over again it says someone who can receive communion. Well, you got to be a Catholic. You got to be in the right state. You got to state of grace. You got to go to confession.
Also in the right, like Oklahoma, Texas, a couple other states, and that's
Right.
about it.
Sure.
Other than that, it's a little iffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arkansas.
Valid,
I
but
don't
maybe
know.
not
California is
Cali-
so pushy.
yeah.
Yeah. Valid, not licit. No, I'm just joking.
Right.
No, okay, so that's
Yeah.
but that is interesting. I like how at the very end they say, like, listen, our goal here is to save souls. Like, that is the mission of the church.
Supreme law of the church.
Right.
Right,
So
yeah.
if there's a hindrance there, then we fall upon we want to just save souls.
Yes.
Right. And of course, we don't sacrifice unity for authenticity or truth, of course. I mean, and that's the whole point of
The code.
I mean, it's like, so you're just following all of these canons because some people, this is a hot button of theirs, when you talk about unity, because, and maybe rightly so, there's a lot of talk about unity, almost as if like, oh, forget about what's right or wrong. Like, we just want to be,
bring people
let's just
in.
be unified. You know what? Exactly.
all
Like,
cost.
right. Exactly. But in this case, you just have an entire book that has like defined everything with razor precision. And so, like, in that context, when it talks about having unity, it's certainly not at the expense of the truth,
Right.
Or what's right and what's wrong.
Right.
So it talks about receiving communion. What do you need to do? You need to be baptized. You need to do these other things. What if, and again, Code of Canon Law goes through all these, with most all the sacraments, it says, in danger of death, go for it. And if this is really a life or death situation and this person's unconscious, you don't know if they're baptized or not, go for it.
Baptize them.
If you don't know if they've been confirmed or not, go for it. Like, if there is a presumed notion that they would be receptive to it, either from a spouse, family member, or someone else who's just like, or you're talking to them, or someone and you're like, they definitely weren't Catholic lovers fully, but they definitely had an openness to God. And maybe that's just enough of a window for me to go for this.
Yeah.
And the Code of Canon Law says there's all these laws and restrictions and rules, but in danger of death,
Basically, none of them apply. Yeah.
because again, salvation of the souls is
Is the
the
game.
point.
It's all, yeah, exactly. So Saint Faustina, in her diary, she was in the hospital towards the end of her life, and she had like some vision about the lady who was in the next room, who was a Jewish woman. And so she
I forgot about this.
prayed that all of the doctors and nurses would leave so that she could get up and go baptize her really quick. And so, of
She
course,
broke Code of Canon Law.
right. I mean, just like with everything that Saint Faustina prayed for, it immediately happened. And so she got up and went and baptized this Jewish lady. Well, and then made it back to her room. And so nobody knew. Very shortly later, I forget how long, but it was like very, very soon after, the lady died, and she appeared to Saint Faustina in her room, like saying, "Thank you for baptizing me. That was awesome."
Right. Yeah.
That's a direct quote. That is exactly what the old Jewish woman said. She said, "That was awesome."
Yeah. Okay, so here's one I want to talk about. We'll talk. I was wanting to talk about the penance, but we're already on communion, so let's go ahead and talk about this because this is a hot button issue. And a lot of people were asking about this. Can a bishop tell you that you cannot receive the Holy Communion on the tongue? Does Code of Canon Law say one way or another that the bishop can or cannot restrict you?
There's nothing in the Code of Canon Law that I know of, I've read or seen, and I've looked through it a few times. It's a big book, so I may be wrong on some of it, but I am almost positive that there's nothing in Code of Canon Law that specifies whether or not that is even I don't think it even mentions communion on the tongue or in the hand. Partly because, recognizing the grand scheme of things, this is the church's law, not the U.S.
Right.
You're talking about a U.S. problem. Communion in the hand does not exist
Yeah.
outside the U.S.
But it is the law only for the Roman Church, right? So this doesn't apply to the Eastern churches.
There are 22 laws, and the Roman one is one of them. So the others would be Byzantine, Orthodox, not the Orthodox, but the other sects.
Orthodox have their own,
Yes.
right?
But everyone else has their own code of canon
But like
law.
if you're a Maronite
Yes.
Catholic, this
There's
code
a
of canon law,
Maronite code of canon law.
you'd have your own separate code of canon law,
Yeah.
right? And so you're just not this doesn't apply to you because you're a different rite.
Right.
Yeah. So we looked it up before we started the show because this is something that I've heard over and over and over again. The canon law forbids a bishop to forbid the faithful to receive on the tongue, almost like canon law mandates that you have that as an option.
Mm-hmm.
And we just couldn't find it in here.
I will say, beginning of Code of Canon Law, you're looking in the first 7-ish chapters, it does talk about, for the sacraments in general, what you're looking at is you probably need to go to your general instruction for each of those sacraments in your own local country. Because again, what you're talking about is local dictates. So maybe a processional dance is part of one culture's baptismal rite. It's not part of ours. That's not part of our culture. It's not part of our heritage. It's not part of our rite. But another culture sure could have something like that.
Mm-hmm. That would be very important to them.
And so it would say, for the celebration of the sacraments, go to the local germs. Go to the local germ, general instruction of the Roman Missal, or, the front of the baptismal book, front of the marriage book, it's like in our marriage book, we have things for doing a lazo for a couple, or doing the aras for a couple, the coins. Both of those are not local to the United States, but we have them in our marriage book because different people come from different countries, and those are in their marriage books.
Mm-hmm.
So they've immigrated into our marriage books here in the U.S. And those, again, this Code of Canon Law would not cover those sort of celebration of the sacrament sort of questions so much as what is it? How do we do it? What's significant? What's not significant?
So part of the problem is that the general instruction for the extraordinary form does say reception on the tongue is the only option.
Correct.
And so, it is problematic that if you forbid reception on the tongue, you are also forbidding, ipso facto, the extraordinary form. We can talk just a little bit more. I don't want to spend too much time on this because
I have other things I want to talk about as well.
Right, but this is like kind of the big one that we got to hit. So anyway, we'll be right back. This is the Catholic Man Show with Adam Minahan and David Niles. We're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass.
So what's the penance?
Oh, so I wanted to talk about. Here's a good question, because in Code of Canon Law, it is talking about how we are to still. It says divine law binds all Christian faithful to do penance, each in his or her own way, in order for all to be united among themselves by some other observation of penance. However, penitential days are prescribed, and it talks about how penitential days and times in the universal church are every Friday and of the whole year and of the season of Lent. So, in Code of Canon Law, it is saying you must not only have penitential days, on Friday and the season of Lent, but the divine law binds all Christian faithful to do penance in his or her own way. So what if you say, only recently has this been a problem, right? Whenever we kind of loosened the requirements on Fridays, that you can't to abstain from meat.
Yeah.
That you can abstain. That you can do something other than abstaining from meat.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening was what? No one did anything.
No one does anything. Yeah.
Right. And so here in the Canon Law, it says that penitential days and times in the universal church are every Friday of the whole year and the season of Lent. So what happens if you don't? Are you bound under pain of mortal sin if you break a Code of Canon Law?
No.
Well,
but I think for that question specifically, like the meat on Friday, I've had a priest tell me that if you intentionally
choose not
Like
to
if
offer
you eat,
up
if you eat
something?
meat on Friday and intentionally don't do another sacrifice, that is mortal sin. It's grave matter.
Grave matter.
I asked
Well,
a,
and
I
then
asked
if you
a
know
priest,
about it, and
I asked a
And you
Wichita
do it,
priest
yeah,
one
yeah.
time that question in the
Ooh,
confessional.
Wichita
Yeah, a
priest.
priest
Well, if
in
Wichita said
Wichita.
that,
I
then,
know
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And you know it's true because they tithe a bunch up there. They have so much tithing.
They must have lots of money.
They really do a lot of tithing.
They do. They do a lot of tithing.
Which I'm very happy for them. But anyway, I have had a priest tell me that it's grave matter
yeah.
if you intentionally do it. You know,
I'd say, could it be grave matter? It could be.
yeah.
So
But to say it is, it's a bit of a dicey proposition, right? Does that mean always and everywhere it is?
He said it was for me,
so
Yeah.
but I'm also like really holy. You know, like
Well, and-
very holy.
Talking about knowledge and intention.
Yeah. I do think, and like when I process this intellectually, it doesn't. I disagree with myself on this.
Yeah.
But it does seem to me like there are certain like your Saint Faustina. We brought her up already. Saint Faustina, something could be grave matter for her that is not grave matter for the rest of the faithful, simply because of her
Level of
elevated
holiness.
knowledge. She has this knowledge of God,
The
and so
intimacy,
right,
like, yeah, that kind of
exactly. She
knowledge,
is so
yeah.
much more aware of sin that something could be grave matter for her that isn't grave matter for anybody else.
Yeah.
When I think about that intellectually, legalistically, that argument tends to break down. I can kind of like work my way out of thinking
Yes.
it, but just like my gut feeling is that is the case, and so I'm on both sides of that fence.
Yeah.
way to go, man. So I want to talk about that, and then
Were
I
you
also,
really way to going me or
No.
Okay.
I want to talk about
Just
how
wanted to know.
parents have the. Here's what 1136
obligation.
says. Parents have the most grave duty.
Ooh, grave. They
The
use the
most-
word grave.
The most grave duty.
What is it in Latin? I need to know.
Grave.
Officium gravissatium.
Yes, that's grave.
Et
Because I speak
isium
Latin.
primarium.
That's why you have it in Latin, right?
Yes. Parents have the most grave duty and the primary right to take care as best they can for the physical, social, cultural, moral, and religious education of their
Did you say
offspring.
primary right?
Yes.
That's what it says, primary right?
You said 1136?
1136.
Okay, because I thought you misspoke there, but
No, that's right.
that changes the way I was interpreting.
Really?
1136.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to say responsibility,
Mm-mm.
but then primary right is a different. I don't know. That just kind of changes it.
So I want to talk about both of those because I think those are two things that guys in general
Mhm.
need to hear,
Yeah.
especially married men.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's roll.
Quattro?
C.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles here with Adam Minahan and Father David Webb, Associate Pastor at Christ the King Parish here in the beautiful Tulsa, Oklahoma.
It is quite nice, especially this time of year. Gosh, who
Dude,
knew?
don't tell people that they'll start moving here.
But only Catholics listen. Only Catholics listen to this show. So like
That's
that is
true.
that is
Catholics
something
welcome.
If
Yeah,
you're
Catholic.
Catholic, you should absolutely move to Tulsa. Jim Finster is going to move to Tulsa. Okay? Like
And Reagan, we're not saying Jim Spencer. So Jim's daughter, every time we say Spencer,
Jim Finster.
his
The
daughter gets all
Finster.
excited. Reagan, no, we are talking about your dad.
You know what? I never realized that there is
Yeah.
linguistically a lot of similarities between you guys.
Yes. And that's where it ends.
It's not a hundred. I mean, there are other similarities. I mean,
They're both Catholic.
They're both
Both Catholic.
dudes.
And guys. Okay. Anyway.
Okay, but anyway, yeah. If you're Catholic, move to Tulsa because it is becoming like a Catholic hub. I think it really is. I tell other people, like if I'm just meeting like other people, you know. I'll be like, I'll kind of complain about Oklahoma, like, there's
The horse and buggies
it's so
are so
terrible.
annoying.
Like it takes forever to get a buggy to your house to
Yeah.
like get to work sometimes if you have to call one, and
Everything's up to date in Kansas City.
because I want them to not come here. That's the thing. Like, yep, it's just a flyover state. You would never want to go there for any reason. Definitely, you'd never want to live there. Definitely, you don't even want to visit. In fact, don't drive through it. Drive around.
Right.
It's worth it.
Right.
That's what I tell them. Anyway, we're talking about Canon Law. Adam, you had a couple things that I thought were really good stuff
Dude, thank you.
to bring up about Canon Law. So I think you should
So
bring it up.
affirming.
Wait,
I
we
am
were
that.
going to finish. Wait, I do want to finish this about
Okay.
reception
Of the Holy Eucharist.
of the Holy Eucharist in the hand, right? Because we were talking about how if you forbid reception on the tongue, then you have essentially forbidden. You've outlawed the extraordinary form.
Which Pope Benedict said you cannot do.
Right,
And
and
that is still binding because Pope
I
Francis
wonder
did
if
not
that's
undo
actually
that.
true because you can still participate in the Mass and still not
Okay.
receive.
Okay. Good caveat. Good caveat. You could actually attend the extraordinary form,
and the priest
no one received communion. However, no, who wants to do that? Like when I go to Mass, it's because I want to receive Jesus. Like going to Mass and not receiving him. There's a lot of value in it, right? But obviously, the best reason to be there is to receive communion.
So a couple of priest friends of mine were talking about that, like during COVID when no one was allowed to come, and we said,
Yeah.
you know what? Literally, we could let people in as long as they don't receive communion. Would people still be willing?
I would.
And I thought that was a very fascinating because again, I think your average person would have to definitely think about it. Because again, why do we?
Oh,
go?
I would
We gotta
def-
receive
I would
communion.
not think.
No,
I would not think about
Oh,
it.
I mean, if that's the choice, like don't come at all, or come and not receive
And
communion,
pray.
I will be. I'll be there in a
enter,
heartbeat.
stay in
Because
your
if you
pew
don't
and don't leave till Mass.
If you
is
don't
over.
understand, because it's a lack of understanding of communion, prayer of the saints, and communion of the saints. Like, because you are joining your prayers and uniting your prayers to all of heaven at that moment.
Yeah.
And so, like,
It's a really easy
so-
question for me, actually.
Right. I'm in.
you
I would
guys
totally
are just
be
so
there.
advanced.
Yeah. So anyway,
Well, I don't know about that.
and also just on this question about reception in the hand, because it's like a lot of people are very concerned about it right now. I'm lucky. We're lucky here in this diocese. It has not been an issue. Like people can still receive on the tongue if they so choose. But there are some.
Diocese?
When the Pope puts out what is it when the
Bulls.
not a papal bull but
Encyclical?
encyclical. Thank you. Word of the day.
He just released one today.
Word of the day. Encyclical. Oh, he did.
Yeah, he just did. I haven't read it yet.
See,
But
I'm
I've
not.
not read it
I don't like Twitter, so I don't know that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Pope
he just
tweets.
received. He
Yeah.
just received.
Yeah. So anyway, there are certain encyclicals that do say that the faithful should always be allowed to receive on the tongue. In not exactly those words, but so I've heard people say Canon Law says that a bishop cannot forbid reception on the tongue. That doesn't actually appear to be the case, but there are other things that,
just for the sake of clarification, it wasn't an encyclical.
but there were we did read an encyclical that said the same
it's
thing.
from the Congregation of Divine Worship.
Okay, so the encyclical may have been quoting
Redemptionis
this.
Sacramentum.
CDW.
Yeah. So okay. So anyway,
That's
feel like-
all I think
I
we
feel like
need
you
to say about
correct.
I
this.
feel like we caveated that enough.
We're not trying to actually exhaust this question.
We triple stamped the double
Please,
stamp,
if,
and now we
if,
move on.
if you don't like what we just said, please don't email us.
Yeah.
We don't care, actually.
So one of the questions that I do have, though, are not really necessarily a question, but something that I think that most people need to hear is on days of penance. From the Code of Canon Law, it's 1249 and 1250, and it's talking about how the divine law binds all Christian faithful, which I think is interesting, all Christian faithful, to do penance, each in his or her own way. And then the next one, 1250, says penitential days and times in the universal church are every Friday of the whole year and the season of Lent.
Every Friday?
Every Friday of the whole year.
I thought it was just Good Friday.
No. That you are.
That was my Jim Gaffigan impression.
That was pretty good, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah. Abstinence and fasting, however, are to be observed on Ash Wednesday and Good Friday. So those are the 2 days that you must observe abstinence and fasting.
I don't even like Fridays.
Hot pocket. So Father,
Tell me.
recently, when I say recently, I'm talking about in the church language of recently, meaning the last
100 years
the last
or so,
50
yeah.
years, 60 years. We have loosened the laws of Friday. It used to be abstaining from meat on Fridays. All Catholics are obligated to abstain from meat on Fridays.
And now they don't have to do anything, right?
Is that right, Father? Is that right?
No, that is
No,
not
that's
right.
not right. Thank
That's
you.
not right. Okay.
That's the correct answer.
We just read it here, guys.
Right.
There's still a obligation to perform a fast.
Uh-huh.
Now, I do believe the way it was talked about post-Vatican II was very different. So many things are changing in India in many ways. Baby went out with the bathwater. Fact. And I think one of the
way
things...
they were talking about isn't how we implemented it.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of people were very confused in the wake of Vatican II on a lot of stuff.
Not because they read the documents.
Right, because they were
Understood
already
them.
actually doing
No.
it, and then they implied what they
No.
were doing.
Because
But
the
a lot of the
implementation
faithful,
was
a
what
lot of
you
the
do.
faithful were relying on their priests and their bishops to interpret all. There's a lot of stuff that came out, and so when they were told certain things, they took it, they believed them, and it turns out that a lot of those things were just wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you are required to make a fast, and in this day and age, I would agree. Post-Vatican II, part of it was saying, meat, you can avoid that. Pescatarians are happy, and whatever else is going on. So it's just like, oh, okay. If that's not a fast for you, then you should do something else. Now, yes, and the code does say that or a suitable other fast if for some reason you can't do that. That being said, so I'll tell you this: at St. John Vianney College Seminary in St. Paul, Minnesota. Every Friday, we would do a technology fast.
Oh, you betcha.
So cell phone, computers, we would do a technology fast every Friday.
See, that
we
would be way
decided
harder than not eating
That is
meat.
harder than not
Oh,
eating
it's way
meat.
harder.
And so I would say not eating meat is a good one. And if you don't have a reason to not do that, you should, abstain from meat. Done.
But if you're a vegetarian,
It's not going to be...
obviously,
Yeah.
let's say honestly, if you're a vegetarian and you say, "Oh, I didn't eat meat today," does that really satisfy your Friday fast? To me, it doesn't. I obviously every vegetarian needs to examine their own conscience on that.
and
because
think about bacon, because
the norm
that
of
They're
is
missing
some-
out.
the
yeah.
norm of the church still is abstaining from meat on Fridays. Like that is the standard given by the church for the faithful to do. But if you are a vegetarian and you say like, "Oh, I guess I don't have to do anything special on Fridays." The point of not eating meat on Friday is not because the church doesn't want people eating meat. And they say, "All right, well, let's just pick one day
because it's a luxury.
because the greenhouse gases and that's not what it's about."
Right.
The
Yeah,
point is
exactly.
about making a sacrifice on Friday, and historically this was something that was everybody could do on Friday. So if you're not making a sacrifice on Friday, then you're not observing this particular law of the church.
Participating in the life of the church.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And what is awesome? Here's a Catholic hack for you. Every
Ooh, I
Friday,
like these.
At 12:51, it says that you're to observe every Friday of the year, unless Fridays occur on the day of a listed solemnity. Solemnity, and then that's the day of feasting.
So there's like St. Joseph the Worker, that's always on a Friday in Lent.
St. Patrick.
St. Patrick is always on a Friday in Lent.
Not always.
Well, no,
That's
Oh
not
no,
us.
sometimes it is.
And that's debatable, right? It's not
Feast
a
day
solemnity.
versus solemnity.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's
okay,
a,
no,
depends-
that's
depends on the diocese.
It's a solemnity. Like
In
if you're in New
Ireland.
York, if you're in
in Ireland, it is a solemnity.
or if you're in
right?
New York,
New
because
York, that is
because
the patron saint of your
because their
cathedral.
cathedral is
Their
Saint
diocese
is
makes it a
right
solemnity.
exactly.
Right. Okay. Cool.
See, this is why you need to know canon law, because there are solemnities that people are missing out on. Like the dedication of the cathedral in your diocese is a solemnity for you.
Annunciation.
Annunciation,
That's
right?
usually during Lent.
Yeah, exactly. So
Solemnity of St. Joseph.
the
yeah, those are
Lenten
two big ones.
solemnities are very highly prized.
Big
Okay.
deals.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I want to get to the last one.
Everybody eats
that-
cake
there's-
on those days.
Here's one more. We'll pick it up on this other side because I know that we won't be able to get through it all on the radio, but you can check it out on the podcast and our YouTube video. But Canon 1136, this is very important for all married couples who have children. It says parents have the most grave duty and the primary right to take care as best they can for the physical, social, cultural, moral, and religious education of their offspring. And I'm not a canonist, but I would be willing to bet there's not a whole lot of places where it says the most grave duty.
No.
That is very
if the word grave appears in canon law, you should pay attention.
Yeah.
right. So go check out 1136 in the Code of Canon Law.
Yeah, and check out our YouTube channel because we're about to describe this. We're going to talk about this a little
we'll
bit
break it
more
down a little bit more.
on our YouTube channel. So subscribe there, and you can hear the rest.
But for everybody who's on the radio, Father David Webb, thank you so much for joining us.
Happy to be here.
We're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass.
And cheers to Jesus. Juan, you're just doing a great job today.
Beast
What do you
mode.
say?
Ooh, Leek actually hooked us up.
Leek is like,
He told us actually St. Patrick is not a solemnity, it's a memorial.
but what we're saying is that in New York, because the cathedral is St. Patrick's, because the cathedral is named after St. Patrick, the feast of St. Patrick in that diocese
It's upgraded.
is elevated to a solemnity.
Just like St. Patrick's in Sand Springs, it is elevated from a feast day, because a feast day is what it is for the church norm, but for the local church, it can be upgraded to a solemnity
Right.
for a just reason, such as this
So,
is
like,
our
for
church
us,
of St. Patrick.
If you are a on the books member, like, and also like, does canon law say
dicey.
do you have to be on the books as a parishioner of that parish for it to be a solemnity
Yeah.
for you?
Parish registry is not one of those things. Baptismal registry is a thing.
So like, what if I go to like this parish half the time? Is it a solemnity for me?
It depends on if you do you celebrate it?
No, that's not what this is about. It's about your parrot. Is your parrot, like, if this is the feast day of your parish church,
yeah.
And you're splitting up time.
and it
At a parish?
then it's elevated for you personally and not your neighbor who goes to a different parish.
Yep.
I mean, the rules apply differently,
That means you have to actually belong to that parish. Like,
Right.
Be a contributing member.
and it's like, well, I belong to two parishes.
Maybe you could be a contributing member at 2. That sounds like a maybe. Not,
It
not,
does
not a
seem like a
definitely.
maybe. I mean, this is
But
kind
like
of like
3, you're like,
this is
you're
where
not a
discern-
contributing member.
This
to
is
3
where
parishes.
discernment comes in. You know,
But
and
if you try locate, then you definitely could be.
Then
That's
we might
true.
allow that. Yes, yes,
That's
yes.
true. I am very close, Father. I will tell you. Bilocating is easy.
Cakewalk.
Yeah, that's no problem.
That's for the intro to the devout life.
Right. Turns out there's like diminishing returns in, like the amount of holiness it takes to progress beyond bilocating. So it's like it takes about 10 times the holiness level to trilocate. I'm very close. So close. I'm going to try again tomorrow morning. We'll see how it goes.
Father, you may have to hear his confession after all this.
I
Do
bet
you have
your
stole?
daughters can probably teach you how.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot from
Exactly.
them. I've learned a lot from them,
Whenever
actually.
dad's not ruining their fasting, at least. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
you're sitting there
Gosh.
buying them donuts whenever they're fasting from.
I wonder if these
My kids are so good. They do what they're supposed to, and then dad ruins it. Oh, crap.
these cookies were getting in the way.
Yeah,
No, these are good.
these are good. Okay, so let's okay, good.
Also kind of a Jim
you
Gaffigan impression.
You're still recording. Good deal. Thank you, Juan. Shout out to Juan. Juan has done a great job. He's stepping up his game.
I just did that.
You did that 2 segments ago?
I'll take 2 shots.
It was literally like 2 minutes ago at the very end of the episode.
You said thank you, Juan.
Yeah. One, right?
Yeah. I deserve 2 praises though.
Sorry, sometimes I just stop listening to you because
That is a mistake.
Say it again.
Juan, shout out to Juan.
That is a
Juan is the
mistake.
bestest.
You would be significantly holier if you would listen to me more.
sometimes I just have to stop.
Well, you're not very good at penance.
That's
your
true.
problem.
That's
your
true.
problem. Saint Faustina, she said it 3 times.
Yeah.
Or Our Lady did, and she was actually quoting her, but...
Okay, so what do you think? So we didn't even say that your code of canon law, the one you have, has commentary on it. In it
Yeah,
as
no
well,
Latin.
correct?
No Latin.
No Latin.
also.
But it has commentary.
Oh, yes, tons.
Okay,
Tons.
because this one does not. So in 1136, again, it says parents have the most grave duty and the primary right to take care as best they can for the physical, social, cultural, moral, and religious education of their offspring. And so that goes like with the Catechism of 2223, where the parents are the primary educators of their family. there's it kind of piggybacks off of that. So what does that mean exactly, especially when it says the best they can for their physical, social, cultural, moral, and religious education? Yeah, what does all that mean?
So, what does that mean? So I think some people... I gotta go close to the mic here.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Some people think that I've done a good job when my kid is Catholic. Well, if that's the only standard, I think a lot of people fail. It's sad.
I
Also,
like the
I don't think
standard
that's
of
really what's
standard of, well, my kids don't do drugs. That is a standard that a lot of people
my
use.
favorite is, well, I didn't kill anybody.
Yeah.
Your child is not an
I'm
axe
a
murderer.
good person. I'm a good person. I
good
mean,
job.
I don't kill anybody.
Props on that one.
Right. Like, that to me is like if you use that as an example, then I know for sure you're a bad person. Like you are like so.
That's where we're setting the bar.
Right. You're like the most morally corrupt person.
You're not babysitting my kids.
Like maybe in the entire state.
So I mean, obviously this is something that's heavy weighted on parents because it's talking about the most grave duty.
Yes.
So we need to make sure we get this correct as
Yes.
parents because it is of grave matter. Meaning now that you guys know this as you're listening, and you choose otherwise, this is under pain of mortal sin.
Now you're well informed. Congratulations.
Why are you laughing?
He said
More you know.
He posted on Facebook that I'm currently bilocating at Taco Bueno right now.
Jim.
Hey, what do you want?
Jim.
What do you want?
Chalupa?
Chalupa? Yeah.
Jim.
Don't be reading.
David
So-
has enough distractions, like, and you're trying to add to it, Jim.
Adam, if only you knew, like, I'm currently dealing with the distractions in this room
And in Taco
and
Bell.
at Taco Bueno
Taco
at the
Bueno,
same
Taco
time.
Bueno.
Okay, so grave matter. This is very important. We can't get this wrong. What does this all mean?
So, going back to what actually is being mandated of you as parents, and I find this a lot, mostly with couples who are prepping for marriage. One's Catholic, one's not Catholic. This comes up a lot.
Very common.
Like, what am I actually committing to, and what's the non-Catholic party committing to with
Yeah.
this? And they're like, well, so does my kid need to be Catholic? Do they need to receive all the sacraments? It's like, they need to be baptized. Okay, yes, we're going through that. But the other sacraments, to the extent that you as a parent decide to do this, great. But like you as a couple have to decide this. And it's interesting because your goal as parents is to make your child be educated enough, because again, this all goes back to you cannot love what you cannot know. So if I don't know chocolate, I've never had chocolate before my entire life. I've had chocolate, but if I never had chocolate, I don't know if I love it or not.
Sure.
If I don't know something, I cannot love it.
It's pretty obvious, yeah.
And you're called to make sure your child knows enough about God in order to love God using their free will. Your goal is not to handcuff your child to a pew in the church and make sure they're raised in a Catholic institution. their
Although
entire
that may
life.
work.
If it works, props.
If it does work, I'll do it.
It sounds easier.
It does sound
Actually,
easier.
you're right. Sounds very easy, actually.
But I mean, that's
My
the,
children are much weaker than me. I could easily do it.
the goal is making sure that they using their own free will. Because again, as they grow up, they need to be at that point when they hit the age of reason. Can they choose this? Well, they can only choose this if they know it.
Right.
Yeah,
That is
absolutely.
the right. That is the privilege that you have in forming another person to know God enough that they can make that choice. Not, again, because again, so many people look at it as, Father, my child isn't going to Mass. My kid is not doing this or that. And it's just like, that's, okay, that should be your kid's problem if you raise them well.
Yeah.
And yet I think a lot of parents feel that guilt because it's a matter of, did they actually make sure their child knew enough about the church and the faith and
Yeah.
God in order to actually make that a sense?
Well, I think a lot of parents do have a lot of guilt because they realize that, at least in their own assessment, that they didn't. That they were, you know, they reached a level at their life where they began to really appreciate God's salvific grace in their own life. You know, where they were finally attuned to it more, and they felt like at that point it was too late. You know, they had already, their kids were maybe already grown, and I've just heard that story so much, you know, and so they do bear a lot of guilt for that because they, you know, and
And that's like even one of my like worries.
I worry.
You know, like,
I worry about that all the
Like
time.
here in like 12, 15 years, am I going to sit here and be like, I blew it.
I realize now,
I blew
like
it.
looking back on my fatherhood, that I was an utter failure for the first 12 years, or
Right.
something. Yeah, I
And
definitely worry about that.
Thank God I married a holy wife
Yeah, who was able to compensate some.
to tip the scale.
So, going back to Catholic education, where does that come from in the family? Who are you called to love first and foremost? Your
My wife.
kids or your... Yeah,
My wife.
Yeah,
No, God.
exactly.
You're called to love God first.
God above all else. Okay, good.
But I knew his question.
But
his
you
question
knew-
was kids or
or wife.
Kids or
Yeah.
wife. It is your spouse.
It's a false dichotomy because it's actually God.
But I have prophetic gifts from God, and so I actually knew in advance what his question would be, and so
And you said, yeah,
if
you're right.
if
you're
he
right.
if he was
Between
going to ask
kids
a different
and wife,
question,
your first
Adam,
vocation is to your
Yes.
wife.
but I do appreciate your answer because that
Because it's
is
correct.
that is the correct answer.
Yes.
Right.
If he had asked that question, the thing is he didn't. So you
So-
would have been right otherwise.
The reason I asked that question was because, again, I was talking with a parent. At Christ the King, we have Moms Play and Pray. So a bunch of moms with kids from maybe 3 months to like 18 months all gather in one big room, and the kids just cause ruckus while the moms sit and pray the Bible. And it's beautiful, and it's great. I love it.
It sounds peaceful.
For a mom, I'm sure. But it was really funny because I remember I was there one day just chatting with them, hanging out, and the kids are climbing all over me like a jungle gym. That's what they do. But one of the moms was like, "Father, I always pray with my kid every night, and I'm getting to that point where the kid is fighting me on it, and I don't know what to do anymore." And it was interesting because I was like, what is really important is not whether your kid enjoys it or not. What's really important is that your child can see my mom is not the same person when she puts me to bed and she prays with me, as opposed to if she puts me to bed and doesn't pray for me. If I can see the difference in my mom praying versus not praying, I've learned everything I need to know out of that situation.
Yeah.
It's not whether you enjoy it or like, oh, my kid's fighting me all this, like that's irrelevant so much as my kid knows that. And again, that goes back to your answer. Who do you love most? God. And who do you
Right.
love, like your spouse? And just like that's where that comes from, is seeing your relationship with God, seeing that my dad is different when he goes to mass on Sunday versus when he's not.
Also, if I would ask her, well, what does Dad say? Where is your husband in this equation? Because she shouldn't be the one fighting him on prayer time. The dad should be the one stepping in saying, "You live in my house, and in my house we pray before we go to bed. There will be no discussion on the topic, and if you're not okay with that, then I'm more than willing to discuss with you the consequences for violating the rules of my house." I mean, like that should it shouldn't be her battle, really, is the thing. And that's one of the big problems. That's kind of like one of the reasons we have our show, is because men are just giving up their
authority. The authority that God
men
has
have
given
just
them.
been too happy to handle. They have a role, a responsibility to play in the family, and they just let it go.
And that's what happens, right? The more authority that you have, the more burden that you carry, right? Because the more.
And not to say that that's her fault. That's not her fault at all. Because when those men do that, what are the women supposed to do?
Right.
I mean, like the only thing they can do is try to fill in the gaps and
Right,
be more than a mom. They have to also try to be a dad.
Right, because what happens is that actually now gives the wife his cross that he's supposed to carry.
Right, exactly.
And now she's
Now
having
she has
to carry.
she has two
carrying,
burdens.
Yeah, she's
Right.
carrying her cross and his cross because he's not willing to carry it. But and that's the burden, or not the burden, but that's the sacrificial or the redemptive suffering that our church calls us to as fathers. Right? Is that we are supposed to be imitators of Christ. And that ideally, one day, our sons and daughters will look at us and say,
Right.
"Dad, I have come to know our Lord because I have seen the love that you have given me." And that is what, like, we are called. Like, ultimately, if I'm on my deathbed and my sons and daughters walk up to me and say, "Dad, I love the Lord more today because of the love that you showed me,"
This actually happened to me one time, and this has nothing to do with canon law.
I'm game. Like that's it, right?
It has nothing to do with canon law. But one time I was praying, and like I had just realized that when Jesus referred to God as Abba, it's like kind of like calling God Daddy.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about, and I was like praying to God the Father as Daddy. And like that has a way of making you like a child. But I was just closing my eyes and praying, and as I called him Daddy, I saw the face of my dad, like almost like superimposed on my mental thoughts of God the Father. And I realized, like, wow, like I did have a great dad, and I do now see him in that way. And it was a very profound. It was one of those moments that I will never forget. Mm-hmm. How everybody has those, it was a very special moment for me in prayer, and I've told my dad about it, and because that was one of those moments where I realized I have an awesome dad,
right?
Which I knew already, but like I really knew it then.
Well, you've seen a priest first mass and the gifts he gives to his parents.
Yes.
Say that again. The what?
You've been to a priest's first mass, his mass of Thanksgiving.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood what you said. Yes, I have. Yes, yeah. It's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. So to his mom, he gives the manna so hands anointed with oil, the chrism, and she's supposed to be buried with him. And the saying is that whenever she is buried with him, whenever she goes to heaven, to the gates of Jesus, gates with Peter, Jesus says, "What do you have to give me?" And she says, "I gave you my son as a priest." And she gives him the manna with the oil.
That is strong.
Part of me, like that makes me think that it is not possible for a woman who has a son as a priest, that it is simply not possible for her to go to hell. I mean, I really do. I do feel that way. That no matter what she has done, that she gave her son.
Well, odds are she wouldn't be the state of mortal sin.
I know.
If we're rolling the dice,
but there are. Throughout history, there are no doubt a plenitude of women who did not lead Christian lives, but like you gave your son as a priest. I feel like there's just something in me that says God will he will not allow you to go to hell. Yeah. That is obviously not part of the teaching of the church.
David Niles' interpretation.
This is me. That's me.
But the church isn't saying it. David is saying it.
That's exactly right. But there's only me.
There is a something parallel to that for the guys, for the dads, and that is giving them a stole from the first confession they hear. And the theory behind that is, you are the one who taught me justice and mercy. You are the one who taught me the Father's love. And that is what I administer in this sacrament, and I learned that from you. And that's a beautiful...
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
I've also heard there's like somewhat of a tradition about the father of the priest being their first confession.
Oh.
To me, if I like...
Hashtag awkward.
Yeah, exactly. If my son becomes a priest, not sure I'm going to do that. Probably won't. But I've heard that, and I've talked to other priests, and I don't know any priests who that was the scenario. So like that could have just been more of like a rumor, or
I don't think I've actually heard any family members' confessions. Now that I think about it.
Well, yeah, I mean it's
probably
just because it's not needed.
Yeah,
I mean, like
there
are plenty of priests. There are plenty of priests. Yeah, like
if it was life or death, totally, let's do this.
Oh,
whatever.
absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't care what you did. Let's just get you right with God.
Yeah. Like, too bad you can't hear mine.
Dang it. Right.
I could. Actually, I could. I just can't give you absolution. So you're welcome. Tell me all your sins.
And I'll pray. I will pray very specifically.
But there's nothing I can do.
It'll be like a very specific prayer that I offer up for you.
Because the Lord has not ordained me to do so.
Nope.
And as we've already discussed, I'm very holy, and so like I'll pray, but
that is
no dice.
Yeah, no dice.
That's all I can do.
I'm with Father on this.
That's all
one.
I can do.
Yeah. Okay.
You know why I'm so holy? Because I work so hard. It's because of my works.
It's your And all of the Protestants that are listening to us right now are like, I told you guys. I told you, Catholic.
I knew that's what they believed.
Deep down inside.
That was
0 viewers now.
Okay, good.
We have 13. There's still 13. Oh, it went down to 12.
Is there anything else that you want to make sure that we did not cover on the code of canon law that you are wanting to
No.
before we're done?
I think the last one is, again, the most important, recognizing
Yeah.
all these, there's 1,700 something.
The last shall be
52.
first.
And it's just saying, at the end of the day, it's all about salvation of souls. That is the number one law of the church. That is the reason why Jesus gave us the church.
Right.
I came so that the Father may be known and loved. And
Mm-hmm.
that's my commission to you, that go and do likewise.
I did not know that was the last canon, but that's what I was trying to say earlier when I said that, this is the principal work of the church in the world, is the salvation of souls. So if that's not what all of the laws are ordered towards, then they are unjust laws.
Are you going to read it to us in Latin?
No.
Oh.
No, because I can't do that.
You could read it in Latin.
Dude, so let me tell you this. So Dave and I had a meeting that we were supposed to go to last week, and on the Dave scheduled the meeting on the calendar. He's invite. It was 11:30, and then I changed it to noon, and I forgot I had changed it to noon, and showed up at 11:30. Right, and I called Dave, and I'm like, hey, where are you guys? And he's like, well, you changed it to noon. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I totally forgot about that.
Oh,
He's like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is my bad. And so I was like, well, perfect. I haven't prayed my rosary yet. So I'll just pray my rosary. And then I thought, I have this little booklet on praying in Latin, praying the rosary in Latin. And it's like, I don't have the opportunity to sit down and, try my best to pray in Latin the rosary. And I was like, this is a great opportunity, right? I have nothing, I'm not driving, I'm sitting still. I can just pray the rosary in Latin.
Yeah.
So I open up the
Just sitting here at McAllister's.
I'm just sitting here at McAllister's Deli waiting for the other party. So I open up this booklet and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I want to do it out loud because if you read a language in your head that you don't know, you can really, you can't, you just kind of skim it, right?
Right,
You just-
that's what I was going to say. You end
just-
up blurring words
yeah, you
and
just
just
kind of skim it. So I'm going to say this out loud.
plowing through it.
So I'm there 30 minutes early. I start the Apostles' Creed. I get through the Apostles' Creed, the Our Father, the three Hail Marys, the Glory Be, and I start the first mystery, and I look around, and I get a text message from Dave that says, "Where are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm in my car trying to pray the rosary." So it took me 30 minutes, basically.
Well, I was there a little bit early, too.
Yeah,
but still.
almost 30 minutes to get through the Apostles'
that.
Creed, Our Father, the three Hail Marys, the Glory Be.
So I advised him, learn one prayer. Learn the Hail Mary.
That's what I'm doing. I'm
Learn the Hail Mary in Latin.
That's what I'm doing.
And then you start praying those in Latin. And then once you're very, where you've
once
got
you
that.
got it down.
Pater
Yeah.
Noster.
Yeah, exactly. Then exactly the Pater, and then the Glory Be.
And then you can tackle the Apostles' Creed.
Yeah.
If you feel, ambitious.
Or actually, honestly, after that, I would recommend the Hail Holy Queen, because the Salve Regina.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
You've
like,
already got that one down, though. Right?
yeah.
I
don't.
I can sing it.
I can sing.
I
I
can-
can maybe sing it.
I can sing it. So that's I sing it every night with the girls.
Yeah.
You do? I didn't know that.
Yeah, every night.
Oh.
Unless,
That's awesome.
except during Advent, when
Except during the liturgical season when the Code of Canon Law says you should
well,
not.
no. So
jerk.
it's part of night
Penance, we're
prayer.
fasting for my voice, kids.
It's part of night prayer where you sing
Right.
the Salve, except during Advent, and
Regina
it's
Caeli?
the Regina Caeli. So we sing the
Oh,
Regina
wait,
Caeli.
no, that one's Easter.
No, that's what it is. Easter's not Advent. I misspoke. So during the Easter season, we sing the Regina Caeli.
Caeli.
Yeah,
Ave Regina Caelorum is Lent. Advent.
we
Ave
do
Regina Caelorum.
we haven't done that one yet.
Oh.
So I'm trying my best.
So anyway, so
I'm
you
trying.
should learn the
And I have
the
that-
Salve,
and
because
that's what I've
it's
started.
if there's one Catholic Latin
almost-
song to know, it's either the Salve or the
I've almost got the Hail Mary down where I don't have to even look at
yeah.
the words. I've gotten it almost sort of as I'm driving, all I have to do is kind of glance at it and be like, oh yeah, that's a word.
It's still harder to do. I can say the Hail Mary in English very fast, much faster than I can say the.
No doubt.
I've been saying the Hail every day when I pray the Rosary. I pray the Hail Marys in Latin
You do?
every day for the last 5 years, and I still cannot
Oh, I think I actually do
cannot
that.
pray the Hail Mary in Latin. Not nearly as fast. It's just because the Latin words are not phonetically. It's not what I'm used to. Like my brain and my muscle memory is used to like saying fast. You know, it does take longer.
Juan wants to say something.
El Juan.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have a story.
Hey, hold on, Juan. I just want to like applaud you. I want to give you props.
Okay.
Hold on.
Yes. Can we tell
come
this
here.
story real fast?
Come here, Juan. Come here. Come.
There's some lights.
Uh,
there we go.
Aquí. Como aquí. No,
sounds
not
like you're
come.
calling a dog.
Aquí.
Here.
Aquí. Aquí.
Here.
Aquí. That means here. Aquí. So Juan gave his first public speaking engagement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
ever.
This week.
It was incredible.
and he killed it. He knocked it out of the
Like,
park.
I had high hopes for him, but he absolutely
I had
blew
big
away my expectations.
Big
Like
expectations.
Gracias.
it was awesome.
Gracias.
And
He was talking about how to
live a
like
Christian
life in the
lifestyle.
workplace, how to evangelize
in the workplace, which is a tough
in the
thing
office.
to do.
Yeah.
I mean,
But Juan is actually
The best
Father
at it.
Sean O'Brien, when he was at St. Anne's, asked several people like, "Hey, what should we have people talk about?" And like he said, "Who should we have talk about evangelizing in the workplace?" And Lady Pamela said, "You should have Juan talk about that." And the thing about Father Sean O'Brien is that if you give him a suggestion, he'll do it.
he runs
true.
with it.
You know, and so he like all of the people we told him to have talk on those subjects ended up talking at St. Anne's on these subjects.
I was in Abu Dhabi when he asked me.
Oh, you were?
Like a year ago.
Because
Just
Juan, like, he'll like take all of his coworkers to mass. Like the whole
He's way
all
better
of
at
Helmrich and Payne is going to mass with
He's
him.
way better at evangelizing than we are.
That
So
big,
did he have
but-
a story?
Well, this has nothing to do with what
Well,
he
he
wanted
was
to
wanting to
say.
say,
We
yeah,
just
yeah.
wanted to talk about
I
this
just wanted
first.
to make sure that people knew.
But
like,
also
he,
his talk,
he did a great
it's,
job.
And like, if you're a patron member, if you're on Patreon, you can go and see his talk because.
Oh, really?
Oh, did we not do that? I
haven't
thought we were
posted
doing
it.
that.
I haven't posted
Well,
it.
we're going to post it. We have the audio, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to post it on Patreon.
Oh, you guys are gonna be in for a treat.
So if you want to be on Patreon,
There'll be a
it's there.
softball for you, even.
Literal. Yes.
Yes.
Literally.
But it was funny, and like
He did a great job.
I
was very proud of you.
I didn't know that you were that funny.
As one of my best
You know I'm
friends.
funny.
knew
You're
that.
funny. You're funny one, but looks aren't everything.
Right.
Okay.
As one of my best friends, I was very proud of
Okay.
you.
Brother, thank you.
Now-
Appreciate
Okay.
it.
Now,
There you
now the thing that you wanted to do.
Now that we are done, we will allow you to speak.
You have 12 seconds.
Thank you for such. Thank you for such high praises. I was expecting them.
6.
So, I have a story about.
And we're done. Thank you very much.
You're our favorite one.
So I have a story about praying in Latin. We pray the Hail Mary. So every night we pray the Angelus, and we pray one Hail Mary in English, one in Spanish, and one in Latin, with the kids. And so Santiago speaks prays the Hail Mary in Latin, but he also thinks he can speak Latin.
Right.
So
Yeah,
sometimes
he's told me that actually
Yeah.
before.
Exactly. So sometimes when he's meeting somebody, and they're like, "Oh, how old are you?" If you ask him like one question, you're gonna get like 16 answers. So he goes, "I'm 4, and my favorite dinosaur is the T-Rex," and he goes through this list, and then he goes, "And I speak English, Spanish, and Latin." And sometimes people are really, "Oh, you speak Latin?" Yeah, I speak Latin. And it's just like they just don't see that one coming. They can guess the other ones. It's like, yeah, this is something every kid would say. Oh, so you can tell them when they're caught off guard. But yeah, it's also a good moment to evangelize about like, yeah, you should teach your kids how to Latin. Yeah, that's what we do at home. We just speak Latin because that's the language of the church.
Not
So-
even ecclesial Latin.
Yeah,
no,
We
yeah.
just speak.
Ecclesial.
Yeah.
You know, he's actually done that to me before where I was talking to him and he said, I think I actually asked him, how many languages do you speak? Because I wanted to see, he was pretty young though at the time.
Yeah.
Like it could have been, this maybe been like a year ago.
It could have been 3.
Yeah, I wanted to see if he actually knew the difference between speaking English and Spanish, or if to him it was all the same language. You know, like like had he reached that point where he realized I actually speak two languages. You know, where he could separate in a categorize some and the others. You know, so I asked him, "How many languages do you speak?" And he said 3. I said, "Really?" And he's like, "Yep, English, Spanish, and Latin." And I said, "Oh, you speak Latin?" "Yep, I do."
Yeah.
And it was just like so definitive. Like, yes, I do speak Latin. Thank you. Next question.
Yes. And just for reference, Juan gave the talk in English.
He did give it in English, but he could
Been
have
better in Spanish.
given it in Spanish.
One of the questions that I
Is
wanted
it
to ask,
Spanish?
Or Latin. Or Latin.
Or Latin.
At the end of your talk, whenever you took questions, one of the questions I wanted to ask, but I refrained, was,
Como?
can you give that whole talk in Spanish, please? En español, por favor.
The old Peruvian lady that I told you about, she asked me to send it in Spanish.
In Spanish, yes.
And I said, well, it's typed in English.
Yeah.
And
In
she goes,
English.
"Oh, can you translate it for me?"
Yeah. Can you translate it?
And she just gave me this huge compliment, so I said, yes.
Well,
Yes.
you need to learn how to say no, Juan.
Yes.
The thing about ministry. The thing about ministry is you have to be able to say no.
No
Right.
puedo.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's on Facebook Live. Will it translate it into Spanish?
I don't know, I can put
Siri might.
subtitles. You know remember what happened with Theotokos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Theotokos?
Yeah. That was
There are some Catholic words that
don't translate well.
don't do. Yeah,
They're Latin
yeah,
for a
He
reason.
said,
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
I said, Our Lady the Theotokos, and the translation picked up Our Lady of Tacos.
Our Lady of Tacos instead of Our Lady.
That is just so awesome.
I like to think she loves tacos.
She definitely loves tacos.
No doubt.
Someone informed me today is taco day.
Today is?
Yeah.
Today is Taco Day?
Well,
I don't know. We had nachos
it was a
for dinner.
semi-reputable source. It's one of my
Father
roommates.
Ketterer.
Father Ketterer.
I was going to say, was it Father Ketterer?
Winner.
Yeah. Father Ketterer did.
And he's a fairly reputable source when it comes
Okay,
to
Google.
tacos.
Father, it was awesome to have you on. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for
my
your,
pleasure.
your
Is today
willingness.
Taco Day?
It's not Tuesday, so it seems like not a taco day to me.
October 4th, the day.
No,
St. Francis.
today's
Why does
5th.
St. Francis do?
Today's 5th.
No. It's 4th.
Oh, it is.
It's the
4th.
4th. Today
St.
is
Francis,
Taco
you knew
Day.
that.
Oh, it just moved to. Okay, it's moving to 5 right now on my
Gotcha.
on my
There
watch.
is still an hour and a half left of Taco Day.
Feast of St. Francis,
Taco Bueno.
even though it didn't
Can you
exist
bring
this
this
year.
up?
Ooh, hey guys.
Oh,
Guys, I'm at Taco Bueno right now.
You guys don't even. Hey,
Was that
no,
part of your plan?
in all seriousness, hey, if you are a patron member, we had a professional audio recording of the papal bull of Saint Francis of Assisi when he was canonized by it was Pope Gregory the Ninth. Yes, Pope Gregory the Ninth gave the papal bull of Saint Francis of Assisi in his canonization, and we audio recorded it professionally.
I mean, not like the original one. Not when he was
because
doing it,
audio
but-
recording wasn't even a thing.
Yeah, but
at
we
that
had somebody
time.
read what he wrote.
But we had somebody read what he wrote professionally.
Because
And
my bilocating is always in present time. It's not
Time travel?
Yeah.
right,
No?
and it's
No.
not. I have not achieved that yet.
so anyway, if you
that's like
support
a
our
way higher
show on
level.
Patreon, you get that along with like a bunch of other like church documents, papal encyclicals. We released Casti Canubi recently. We had next month is going to be the papal encyclical against against free why Catholics can't be Freemasons.
Yeah, from Olearis Consortio. I think that's my fave.
I think yes, I think that
There's
is,
so
is
many
that
good,
what it is?
There's so many
Love
good
that.
words in Latin, like consortio, canubi.
Casti,
like-
Casti Canubi.
Casti,
like,
like
Canubi.
it
just
sounds like
like-
it sounds like a Jedi name.
I like Casti Canubi.
Casti
just like
Canubi.
saying it. Yeah. But anyway, there's over
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
yeah, there's over 40 audio recordings that you can receive if you support the Catholic Man Show. Go to
Totally.
go to patreon.com.
And that's the only way to get them.
Yeah, we're not releasing them otherwise.
And I think we're the only ones doing it too. I mean, like,
I don't know other people that are doing it, but And it's not cheap to do because if you have you know what they call them? They call them voice actors.
Yeah.
That's what they call them, voice actors.
Could I be a voice actor?
You could be.
You could be. I'm not saying if you would be a successful one or not, but anybody who has a voice can be a voice actor. So
Yeah.
I do have one.
Yes, you have a voice.
Yeah. I've heard it before, actually.
So anyway, I'm really excited about those, and we just released. Let's see, last month we did the one on St. Dominic because it was
We've done
his
some
feast
good
day.
stuff.
Yeah, some really awesome, beautiful things that the church has given us that a lot of people like kind of take for granted or
They don't
never
even know.
read or thought about.
And if you're like me, reading stuff is great, but it takes a long time. And I can audio book or, like in the car and at the gym.
Much easier.
And also, like, let's say you're at the gym. Just imagine this with me. You're at the
Okay.
gym. Someone says, like, hey, Adam, what are you listening to? And you're like, oh, actually, I'm listening to Costi Canubi. It's, like, this is what it's about. Or I'm listening to this by St. Thomas Aquinas. Like, I'd love to talk to you about it. And then next thing you know,
Evangelization
they
opportunity.
and all their kids are becoming Catholic. All because you supported the Catholic Man Show on Patreon.
Do it.
Winning team.
Do it.
Winning team.
Yes. All right, Juan, we're good. Thank you.
# efficient cause.